Part 93. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 923. 921. Such days are really beautiful and happy. By the time He Tian was 4 months pregnant, it was already summer. Huo Jekan came to Yanjing with Zhang Lifang on the pretext that he was coming to Yanjing for a meeting. At this time, He Tian was wearing thin loose clothes and had a bulging belly. Huo Ruwa and Huo Ruimin stared at their mother's belly. "Mom, did you eat something secretly?" Huo Ruimin asked. "Look, your belly is so full." Because she was worried that her child would talk nonsense outside, He Tian never told her child about her pregnancy. In addition, I had been wearing some loose clothes before, so it was not obvious from the outside, and the children didn't care. Now that it's summer, it's exposed all at once. Zhang Lifang laughed loudly. "Your parents are really bad. They eat delicious food secretly at night and don't give it to Ruwa Ruimin." "Yes, Grandma," Huo Ruimin said, "Mom and Dad are so bad." Huo Ruwa was playing with cars. When he heard his sister's words, he just looked over and continued playing with cars. "My sister is so stupid." Perhaps feeling his brother's contempt, Huo Ruimin widened his eyes and said, "Brother, why are you looking at me like that? Did I say something wrong? Last year, Fatty's mother also had a big belly. 2 days ago, Fatty said that his mother gave birth to a little sister for him." Huo Ruwa did not admit the contemptuous look before, but presented the facts. Sure enough, when Huo Ruimin heard this, she felt as if she had been hit hard. She immediately turned to look at her mother's belly, eyes widened, and said, "Mom, is there a sister in here? Maybe it's a younger sister, maybe it's a younger brother." He Tian said. This time there was a single child in her belly, but she didn't know the gender yet. Huo Ruimin was a little angry, not happy as expected. Zhang Lifang was stunned, not expecting her granddaughter to have such an expression, and asked cautiously, "Ruimin, don't you like having younger brothers and sisters playing with you?" Little Fatty said that after having a younger sister, his parents won't love him as much as before. Huo Ruimin muttered, worried that after having younger siblings, his parents would no longer love them. At this time, Huo Ruwa stopped playing and looked at her mother. He is also worried about this problem. Being stared at by his son and daughter with pitiful eyes, He Tian quickly stretched out her hand and said, "You two, come here." Huo Ruwa and Huo Ruimin walked slowly to their mother and looked at her expectantly. Whether it's a younger brother or a younger sister, Mom and Dad all love Ruimin and Ruwa the most. They won't ignore Ruimin and Ruwa because of their younger brothers and sisters, He Tian said with a smile, and then kissed her daughter and son on their foreheads. For a moment. "Really?" Huo Ruimin asked, still a little unconvinced. "Really, when your father comes back, your parents will write a letter of guarantee to Ruimin and Ruwa, and let the grandparents testify that they will love Ruimin and Ruwa even more," He Tian said righteously, making them feel her attitude. "Okay, Grandma, wait for Grandpa and Dad to come back and ask Mom and Dad to write a letter of guarantee." Huo Ruwa nodded. His dad told him that if you make a promise, you must keep it. Zhang Lifang smiled and nodded. Okay, grandparents will give you proof." At this time, He Tian felt some fetal movement. He Tian took her daughter and son's hands and put them on their stomachs. "Ah," Huo Ruimin's eyes widened, "Mom, it's moving, it's moving." "Yes, he likes sister very much." He Tian smiled. "Say hello to sister and say that I will be obedient and sister will love me." "Mom, I touched it too." "Tell him that my brother loves him too," Huo Ruwa said excitedly, with rich expressions on his usually calm face. "Mom, you also tell him that my sister also likes him and loves him," Huo Ruimin said. "I will give him my favorite bear biscuits. I'll share the cake with him," Huo Ruwa added. He Tian smiled and said, "Okay, Mom has already told him, and he said thank you, brother and sister." Nation's interaction with the children makes the children no longer think about competing for favor, but like each other and give to each other. Only in this way will the relationship between brothers and sisters become better in the future. When they came back in the evening, Tian and Huo Yingzhe wrote a letter of guarantee and signed it for Huo Ruhua and Huo Ruimin to keep. With the guarantee from their parents, Huo Ruhua and Huo Ruimin have calmly accepted the fact that they will soon have younger siblings. At night, Zhang Lifang whispered to Huo Jekan. Lao Huo, I feel relieved to see Tian teach the children. Zhang Lifang said, I'm not around, so you don't have to worry. You are better at teaching children than I am. Children and grandchildren will have their own blessings. Let's take care of one generation after another. Huo Jekan is open-minded. Tian and Yingzhe are both good children and good parents who will teach their children well. Yes, from now on we will be good and love the younger generation. Zhang Lifang's husband has a stable career and will be able to plan more for his children in the future. The children in our family are destined to have a higher starting point than others in the future. As long as they don't grow crookedly, they will achieve great success in the future. Huo Jekan said with a smile, I have never worried about this. Yes, I'm not worried now. Zhang Lifang said, Yingzhe has a happy family and his work is going smoothly. Running a business in Yanjing step by step will be more beneficial to us in the future. Ah, Zhang Lifang was confused. From your tone, it seems that there is no hope of being transferred back to Yanjing today. Zhang Lifang and Huo Jekan have been together for so many years, and they can see some clues with just one sentence. Today, the senior leader personally told me that he hopes to stay in Nanxi for another 5 years to consolidate, develop the economy, and improve economic policies. Huo Jekan smiled bitterly. He originally thought that he could return to Yanjing because his job was so impressive, but now he has to wait. Hey, Zhang Lifang sighed, I knew it wouldn't be that smooth, but not coming back may be good for your work. After all, the tree you planted has just grown fruit. If you leave, others will pick the fruit. The big boss means the same thing. If nothing else happens, I will probably become an important staff member there tomorrow and continue to be in charge of the economy. Huo Jekan said, in this way, we will have to stay in Nanxi for 5 more years. Speaking of this, Huo Jekan felt a little guilty. They will be floating outside for another 5 years. It's okay, I'll be wherever you are, Zhang Lifang said, and I'm approaching retirement age. When the time comes, even if the hospital re-employs me, I can work 3 days a week at most. When I'm free, I can come to Yanjing Elementary School live. Zhang Lifang thought openly, even if she was unhappy, so what, it would only make Huo Jekan feel even more uncomfortable. Furthermore, this is a critical time in one's official career. There are many benefits to picking the fruits before leaving. Moreover, her son and daughter-in-law can be very capable and teach their children well. She is relieved that her parents are still in good health, so don't worry about it for the time being. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 924. 923. After 2 days of such a lively atmosphere, Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang had to leave. In summer, Nation's home is very lively. Although Tian can't swim now, she can go and soak in the water. It's really comfortable. As for the children, they like the coolness of swimming even more. On weekdays, Huo Ruxiang, Niuda, and Niu Er often come here. Now it's summer vacation, Huo Ruxiang just stayed and didn't leave. As for Niuda and Niu Er, because their homes are nearby, they also come here after breakfast, eat here at noon, and go home for dinner at night, and stay all day. The house is large, and Tian doesn't mind the noise. After swimming, she drives them to the front yard to play. Huo Yingzhe takes time to teach them calligraphy or martial arts. Several children learn well, and there are many children, so the learning atmosphere is very good, competing with each other, and making great progress. Bai Qianjiao lives in the compound, watching he Daodu having fun with everyone, and is also very happy. Maybe when the child is older, let him come to China to study for a while. However, this is just a thought at this time. After all, the Bai family's foreign industry is too large to be transferred to China overnight. Fortunately, the current domestic policies are very good. Investing in setting up a factory is a very good choice and one of the future development directions. One day, Huo Yingji brought back a few bottles and placed them on the table. He Tian was looking at the account book, and when she saw the bottle on the table, she asked curiously, "What is this?" "Cosmetics, I have already prepared the formula," Huo Yingji said. "You can ask someone to try it and see how it works." Ah, He Tian was stunned, so fast. What's so difficult about this? It's just extracting and concentrating some Chinese herbs for purification, and then adding glycerin, water, essence, etc. Huo Yingji said, "I have tested all kinds of data, and they meet the standards, and they are very good for people's skin. There are whitening, moisturizing, and anti-wrinkle products." He Tian opened the lid, and inside was a bottle of relatively refreshing water. She asked, "This should be toner, right?" "Yes, this is toner," Huo Yingji replied. "The one with foam in it is facial cleanser. The thicker one is essence, the bottle of white and thin paste is lotion, and the solid one is moisturizer, which is basic care. By the way, the last small bottle is a primer, which can cover blemishes, isolate dust, ultraviolet rays, etc. This is a whole set of things." "Oh my, it's so good," He Tian said. "I'm pregnant now, so I can't use it. I'll let my mother use it later to see the effect." Huo Yingji said it was okay, and He Tian believed it completely. Wang Shuping and Bai Qianjiao were talking in the front yard, and He Tian came over with a small package. "Although my mother's skin is well maintained, she is old after all, and her complexion is a little dull, so she must use foundation to cover it. But in summer, it's easy to sweat, and foundation is a little difficult to use." "Tian, what are you holding in your hand?" Wang Shuping looked at the exquisite bottle in He Tian's hand and was very curious. He Tian had already put a label on the small bottle. "Mom, this is the cosmetics made by Yingji," He Tian said. "I studied this just to promote his good brother Zhou Yuanqiao. I cooperated with Zhou Yuanqiao's wife Wang Ying to open a cosmetics company. He has done the test and said that we have found the problem. I think it's good and I'll bring it to you to try." Wang Shuping's eyes lit up when she heard it was cosmetics, and said, "Okay, I'll try it now." "Mom, wait a minute," He Tian said. "Aunt Guo, get a basin of warm water for washing your face." "I'll go to the bathroom." Wang Shuping smiled. "You still want to watch me put on makeup outside?" "Haha, just outside. I'll show Grandma if this cosmetics is good," He Tian said. "Grandma, is it okay?" "Okay, it's okay anyway, so I'll join in the fun," Bai Qianjiao said, smiling on the side. She wanted to see how effective this cosmetics is. If possible, the Bai family has a cosmetics brand, which can be taken over for production and sales. "Tian, water, here it is." Aunt Guo turned on the water and put it on the stone bench next to her, and there was also a towel next to the basin. Wang Shuping began to wash her face and wipe off the powder on her face. He Tian took out a small bottle and said, "Mom, you used powder, so you'd better wash your face carefully to avoid those things leaving residue. This is a moisturizing deep foam facial cleanser. Don't use those things to wash your face, use this." "Okay." Wang Shuping gently rubbed the facial cleanser in the palm of her hand, and her palm was full of fine foam, and there was a faint fragrance. Then she rubbed the foam on her face and gently washed her face. "How is it?" He Tian asked. "What do you feel?" "It's quite comfortable and smells quite fragrant." Wang Shuping smiled, washed for about 1 or 2 minutes, and washed off the foam on her face. "Oh, I feel very comfortable on my face, not tight." "Mom, this is a mirror," He Tian said. "Take a look." Wang Shuping took the mirror and looked at her face, and said in surprise, "Not bad, very moisturizing, it seems not as dull as before. I am looking forward to the bottles below." He Tian now used some essence milk and so on behind her mother's ears, and found that there was no allergic phenomenon, so she let her mother use it. "Mom, please use this bottle of water first to replenish your hydration," he Tian said. "When your skin is hydrated, it will be more moisturized, supple and wrinkle-free." "Okay, I'll use it." Wang Shuping was particularly looking forward to it. According to He Tian's words, she used the contents of the bottle in the order again and again. Every time she uses something, Wang Shuping will look in the mirror. Use cream during the day and lotion at night. Finally, He Tian said, "Those are basic maintenance. This bottle is a barrier cream. Yingzhi said it can isolate dust, ultraviolet rays, or harmful substances in the air, and it can also cover blemishes." Ah! It has so many effects. Wang Shuping was stunned. Her face felt very comfortable now. She didn't expect there to be such a good thing. "Yeah, give it a try." He Tian smiled, squeezed out a little, and tapped it on her mother's forehead, cheeks, chin, and nose. "Mom, you have your fingers to slap it away." Wang Shuping followed the instructions and patted the cream evenly on her face in front of the mirror. I saw that the originally dull skin color became fair and supple with Wang Shuping's fingers, and the dullness on the face disappeared. It has the function of concealing blemishes, but it doesn't look like a foundation. You just wipe it on at first glance. After using a fine base cream, you won't be able to see any traces of makeup on your face. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 925. 922. Fortunately, benefits have also followed. By the way, a compound has been built in Nanji. When we move in, we will be equipped with bodyguards and nannies. You won't have to work so hard by then. At the same time, we can also apply for a special train, which is very fast and will not stop in between. It's direct to Yanjing and it's convenient to go back and forth, Huo Jekan said, hoping that these conveniences would make his wife feel more comfortable. "That's great." Zhang Lifang smiled, "then I can enjoy it too. I just hope that you will be good, support each other, take care of each other, and grow old together," Huo Jekan said, holding his wife's hand. "Okay," Zhang Lifang smiled, "they were a pair for life, they did it." Huo Jekan was never like those men who did whatever they wanted because of their high position and power. It's good for her and her family, love their children, love her even more, and support her work. It is enough for a woman to get these in her whole life. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang were about to leave when Bai Qianjiao came back with He Jingyu, Wang Shuping and He Daodu. They decided to stay for 2 more days to get together with their in-laws. "Shuping, after all, you are raised by the soil outside. Why do I think you are younger than before?" Zhang Lifang looked at Wang Shuping enviously. She was 2 years older than Wang Shuping, but she looked like she was several years older. Wang Shuping smiled and said, "It's not like the soil and water over there. There seem to be many beauty salons there. My mother-in-law and I went there a few times and it felt pretty good. I don't usually go to work, so I just take care of the children at home and take care of the family. Greenhouse. Oh my, you are so happy," Zhang Lifang said, very envious. "If you want to be free, that's fine, but you just like to be a doctor," Wang Shuping said with a smile, "and you are very responsible, so it will inevitably be very tiring. You have to pay more attention in the future." "Yes," Zhang Lifang smiled, "I'm about to retire. Even if I re-employ, I will have more leisure time than now. However, you are right, I like to be a doctor, and I can't get used to being idle." In the blink of an eye, We haven't seen each other for 2 years, Zhang Lifang said. Every time I see the letters and photos you write to me, I feel so envious. However, I guess I will never have the chance to go out and see you in this life. Haha, in fact, the scenery in the country is not bad, Wang Shuping said, it's just that you don't usually have long vacations, so you don't know the scenery around you at all. Yes, Zhang Lifang said, especially when you get older, you don't want to move anymore. Wang Shuping smiled and said, yes, I don't want to leave when I come back, but I can't let go if I don't leave. Fortunately, Yingzhe is a good person, and we can rest assured about Tianation's children. If you want to say you are relieved, we should be relieved, Zhang Lifang said with a smile. Lao Huo and I really didn't have to worry about Tian marrying her. Tian and Yingzhe, the young couple, handled the matter properly. Now she is pregnant. Lao Huo and I are even more happy when we get the third one. When I received the letter, I was surprised and found it a bit unbelievable. They had never wanted children before, and I thought they had 2 children and no longer planned to have children, Wang Shuping said. I usually read some Chinese newspapers. There are some new policies introduced by some countries, which are just in time for family planning. Fortunately, you have handled them carefully to avoid too much trouble. Haha, now that we have it, we have to keep it no matter what, Zhang Lifang said. I heard that at the beginning, Yingzhe and Tian actually ran to the Taoist temple to hide, which made me laugh to death. Fortunately, my sister-in-law came forward and settled the matter. Now that I think about it, I don't do a good job as a mother-in-law. If I were with Tian, I wouldn't bother my sister-in-law. Wang Shuping understood Zhang Lifang, so she didn't think Zhang Lifang was at fault. She couldn't abandon her husband and let Huo Jekan be alone in Nanjing. Huo Jekan looks good and takes good care of his body. Now is the time when he is mature, steady and has an extraordinary bearing. It would be quite embarrassing if some romantic affair happened. Haha, Aunt Wang is with Tian. Now she has bodyguards, nannies, and housework around her. Tian doesn't have to do the work by herself, Wang Shuping said. You just need to take good care of brother Huo, especially now that Huo the eldest brother has a high position, so it would be bad if one day he finds a confidant. Haha, Zhang Lifang said with a smile, yeah, I have to be careful. The same goes for your Jingyu. Look at the suit and tie, he looks handsome, and standing with Yingzhe, he doesn't look too old. Wang Shuping covered her mouth and smiled and said, don't tell me, those overseas big girls really tried to seduce Jingyu. Fortunately, my mother-in-law was by the side, so those women didn't succeed. Oh my god, Jingyu didn't hide away, Zhang Lifang asked in surprise. You're not angry either? He hid, but not away, Wang Shuping said with a smile. Drunk, he finally ran out in a daze with his pants pulled up. My mother-in-law's bodyguard happened to see him and saved him. After that, the secretary next to Jingyu, the assistants have all been replaced by men. Haha, Zhang Lifang said with a smile. Thankfully Jingyu is a decent person. If those who didn't have strong self-control would have acted recklessly long ago. Yes, Wang Shuping said, fortunately, I have children. Daodu now studies foreign things on weekdays. But Jingyu doesn't want his son to know nothing about the culture of China, so in addition to being busy with work, he also has to teach children. There is no spare time. That's good, Zhang Lifang smiled and said, we can't let him have too much leisure. If he has something to do, he won't get into trouble. By the way, how long will you stay in the country this time? I guess 3 weeks, Wang Shuping said. After all, I haven't been back for 2 years, so I can't just go back after just a few days. I miss Tian, Ruhua and Ruimin, and I also want to stay longer. It's just a pity. You guys will be there tomorrow. About to leave. It's been 2 weeks since we came here, Zhang Lifang said. It's not a holiday, but I still have work to do when I go back. Fortunately, I have invited so many people at home, and it's safe, so I can leave with peace of mind. It's rare for you to come here. Yanjing, let Yingzhi take you around Yanjing. Yes, I will. Wang Shuping smiled and continued to chat with Zhang Lifang about the funny things she encountered abroad. Over there, Huo Jekan, He Jingyu, and Huo Yingzhi were also chatting, but He Jingyu mostly talked about the foreign situation and future development directions, while Huo Jekan talked about the domestic situation, investment environment and investment projects. Huo Yingzhi can also echo some and express his own opinions, which always makes He Jingyu and Huo Jekan's eyes light up and get some inspiration and help. At the same time, as a junior, Huo Yingzhi also worked part-time serving tea and water, and personally entertained his father and father-in-law. The author was confused, and 923 was posted to the front. Sorry, I will pay attention to it in the future. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 926. 924. Maybe it's because Wang Shuping has very good skin and the effect looks obvious. Tian, the effect is good. Wang Shuping was pleasantly surprised. It feels like even if you sweat, your face will not be stained. Yes, if some people have larger spots and darker colors, they can use powder. Tian said, this way the powder will be more compliant on the face. Wang Shuping went into the room, took out the powder cake, and lightly applied a layer of powder on her face. As expected, the effect was much better than before, and her skin was more textured. Tian, this is good stuff, Wang Shuping said with a smile. If you don't need this portion, can you give it to me first? Okay. Tian smiled, she didn't need it anyway. Bai Qianjiao looked at Wang Shuping up and down, nodded and said, the skin is whiter. Let's add a little blusher. The skin will be rosier and more beautiful. Yeah, Wang Shuping put on a little more blush, and she really looked better. Tian saw that there was an eyebrow pencil in her mother's makeup bag, so she helped her draw her eyebrows and put a lighter lipstick on her lips. Mom, how are you? Tian held the mirror and asked her mother to look at it. She was still the person in the mirror, but Wang Shuping discovered that after putting on makeup, she looked 10 years younger. Yes, it's great. I'm 10 years younger, Wang Shuping said with a smile. This is really good. If you open a cosmetics company and produce it, you must send some to me. Tian smiled and said, okay. I will prepare the best for you when the time comes. Bai Qianjiao smiled and said, there is indeed a lack of high-end cosmetics in China. It is indeed good for you to do this business. But compared to the domestic market, you can authorize the formula to me. I have a high-end cosmetics brand in France. You can first sell it in. How about manufacturing and selling abroad, and when the time comes, I can invest and set up factories in China. Tian thought for a while and said, Grandma, you have a good idea. We can authorize it to you first, and you will produce it first. When the time comes, we will open an agency in China and then set up a factory. The feasibility is relatively high. At the same time, Wang Ying, now I am pregnant and about to give birth. It has been a year and a half and I have no time to work. Okay, Bai Qianjiao said, okay, tell me the price. No need, Grandma, Tian said, you have already given me the shares of Fuxi Automobile, which is huge. What does this formula mean to you? When the time comes, the sales outside Huaxia will be yours. Huaxia, the sales profits from the country are mine. After hearing this, Bai Qianjiao nodded and said, okay, if possible, you can ask Yingzhi to come up with 2 more facial masks, so that it becomes a complete set of products. Okay, I will tell him, Tian smiled. By the way, if you give me the formula directly like this, will Yingzhi have any objections? Bai Qianjiao asked. She didn't want her granddaughter to be wronged. Tian smiled and said, Grandma, don't worry about this, Yingzhi doesn't care about this. Besides, our family has so much property, he doesn't have to worry about food and clothing, so why would he care about these things? Mom, don't worry, Yingzhe is not that kind of person. Wang Shuping watched Huo Yingzhe grow up and knew Huo Yingzhe very well. Huo Yingzhe is not that kind of narrow-minded person. Bai Qianjiao nodded and said, that's good. In short, Grandma will never treat you badly. I am your father's son, and your father's two children are you and Daodu. With so much family property, you two should share it. The palms and backs of the hands are all flesh, we won't be biased. When He Tian heard what her grandmother said, she quickly declined, Grandma, your property was also left by the ancestors of the Bai family. From now on, let your younger brother inherit it and carry it forward. Besides, my younger brother has always been filial to my grandmother, it should be given to my brother. As for my name, Brother Yingzhe has also obtained some patents, which seem to be very popular, and I can receive a lot of royalties every year. Now we and my wife have a lot of money, and we really can't afford it. Wang Shuping smiled and said, okay, your grandmother knows it well. As a junior, you just accept it with peace of mind. Although I don't know how to do business, I also know that the Chinese economy is opening up and there are a lot of opportunities. I will do it in the future. It's getting better. Haha, Shuping was right this time. Bai Qianjiao smiled. Although her daughter-in-law does not know how to do business, she can take good care of her home and family so that she and her son have no worries. She is also a successful woman. When meeting her grandmother, her mother said this, and He Tian couldn't say it anymore. In the evening, Huo Yingzhe went home. Brother Yingzhe, Grandma said she wants to get your cosmetic formula to be produced and sold in France. The product will be launched tomorrow. She can let us act as an agent and take the high-end route. When China's economy develops again, she will invest in setting up a factory in China. This way more secure, what do you think? He Tian asked, seeking Huo Yingzhe's advice. After hearing this, Huo Yingzhe nodded and said, this is indeed very good. The brand value will be high by then. Furthermore, you and Wang Ying are both pregnant and have children. It is estimated that you will not have the energy to do this in the next 1 or 2 years. Wait until tomorrow. It's not bad to open a foreign cosmetics agency. Since you agree, then I promise Grandma. He Tian said, by the way, Brother Yingzhe, Grandma said, you can make a few more facial masks, so that we can form a series of products. Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, okay, if you add an eye cream, it will be more complete. Well, this is better. He Tian said yes repeatedly, Brother Yingzhe is awesome. After that, Huo Yingzhe used his spare time to start tinkering with facial masks, including sheet masks, filling masks, moisturizing masks, and whitening masks. Huo Yingzhe also came up with an eye cream with finer particles, which received repeated praise from Bai Qianjiao. Eyes are the most susceptible to aging. If there is an eye cream that can resist aging and wrinkles, it would definitely be a great gimmick. Bai Qianjiao praised, Yingzhe, it's a pity that you don't do business. Thank you Grandma for the compliment. Huo Yingzhe smiled, I can only do research, but not other things. Since it is cosmetics, all aspects must be considered. The eyes are the windows to the soul, and they are also the place where aging is most likely. The molecules must be more precise. Because the area around the eyes is small, a bottle of eye cream of 20 ml is enough, but the price must be more expensive to show its preciousness. Well, that's right. Bai Qianjiao smiled, for this set, I invited someone to design a set of exquisite packaging to match the set of products. When selling, you can bundle these products together, or you can use 2 or 3 of them to make some sets, which is more convenient. Huo Yingzhe suggested, the products have a certain degree of adhesion and are easier to put together. By increase sales. Okay, Bai Qianjiao understood Huo Yingzhe's words soon, you paid attention well, I took note of it. The sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 927. 925. Huo Yingji quickly finished the cosmetics business, wrote down all the formulas on paper and gave them to Bai Qianjiao. These things can play a greater role and bring greater benefits in Bai Qianjiao's hands. The samples made by Huo Yingji were also confiscated by Bai Qianjiao and kept for research and development. For some things, there is still a gap between small-scale production and mass production. It is necessary to do a good job of comparison and testing. He Tiantian is looking forward to her grandmother getting a higher rate of return in the cosmetics business. Time passed quickly. During this period, Bai Qianjiao learned about the sales of Fuxi automobile and affirmed its achievements. The future Chinese market will be a huge cake. They have already grabbed a piece of cake first. What they need to do now is to speed up production and do a lot of advertising to make Fuxi automobile popular among the people first. The day of departure has finally arrived, and Bai Qianjiao and others are leaving. He Tiantian wanted to see them off, but was stopped by everyone. In the end, Huo Yingji saw them off. Bai Qianjiao and his group went directly to France to settle the cosmetics business first. Such good things, Bai Qianjiao can't wait to see these products on the market. The hot and noisy home is a little quiet. The children all went with Huo Yingji to see them off, and he Tiantian was at home, feeling a little sad. When Huo Yingji came back with the children, he Tiantian was in a trance facing the garden. Grandma is in good health, father-in-law and mother-in-law have a good relationship, brother-in-law is smart, and everything is fine. Don't be sad, Huo Yingji comforted. By the way, I got some Hong Kong movies, do you want to watch them? Okay, let's watch a movie, he Tiantian smiled. Being sad all the time will not only make you uncomfortable, but also affect the people around you. The children heard that there was a martial arts movie, so they followed Tiantian to watch the movie. Although the fighting in it was very old-fashioned, it was also very funny. There were children's exclamations on the side, and he Tianatian's mood was much better. The days passed one by one, and in a blink of an eye, the baby in he Tianatian's belly was already 7 months old. She went to the hospital for a B ultrasound check and it was a boy. Huo Yingji and he Tiantian came to the Huo family's old house. Grandfather, the baby in Tianatian's belly is a boy. Please give him a name so that I can register him, Huo Yingji said with a smile. According to the previous plan, the child has been born now. Old Master Huo said with a smile, I have thought about it. The boy will be called Huo Rufeng. This is a good name. Thank you, Grandfather, Huo Yingji said with a smile, I will register him tomorrow. Haha, I didn't expect it. Our Huo family is also prosperous. There are 4 male children in the 4th generation. It's a pity that there is only one girl, Old Master Huo said. Now you can't have it even if you want it. Mrs. Huo smiled and said, people should not be greedy. Now we have 4 great-grandsons and 1 great-granddaughter. It's already very good. Train these children well, and each of them will have a promising future, which is better than anything else. That's right, Old Master Huo said with a smile, I want to be content. Now, who among the old friends in Jinxia Villa doesn't envy his family? Tiantian, you and Yingji should not come to the old house in the future. Your grandfather and I will go to visit you, Mrs. Huo said, so as to avoid being talked about because the child's household registration has been registered but the mother has not given birth yet. I know, Grandma, he Tiantian agreed. After returning home, he Tiantian stayed at home all the time. In order to contact the doctor in time, Huo Yingji went to the post office to apply and spent a lot of money to install a phone. Grandma Wang had helped to clean up the delivery room for he Tiantian to use. Finally, on an early autumn morning, he Tiantian felt some contractions in her stomach and labor pains. He Tiantian, who had the experience of giving birth once, was not in a hurry, but washed slowly. Huo Yingji found something strange and said, Tiantian, Are you going to give birth? I think so, he Tian said. I'll wash up and go to the delivery room by myself. You call my sister-in-law. Sit down first, I'll call, Huo Yingji said. Because of his anxiety, his hands were shaking a little, and he pressed the wrong number twice. He Tian smiled on the side, her face was a little pale, and she saw her husband's panic. Huo Yingji finally made a phone call. Zhao Huan received the call and hurried to find her senior sister in the obstetrics and gynecology department. She brought some things she needed and hurried over. Huo Yingji wanted to help He Tian to the delivery room. He Tian said, Brother Yingji, I will have breakfast first and send the children to school later. Don't let them stay at home. I'm afraid of scaring them. Grandma Wang was also a little nervous when she heard that He Tian was about to give birth. It seemed that only He Tian herself was not nervous. She ate seriously, went to the toilet, did some simple lower body cleaning, and then went to the delivery room. Huo Yingji found the pills he had prepared before, waited for the doctor to come, and then secretly gave them to Tian to give birth to the baby as soon as possible. More than half an hour later, Zhao Huan and her senior sister Dr. Zhang came over. He Tian was examined and the fetal position was correct, and then it was time to wait. When Huo Yingji asked He Tian to drink water, he gave her the pills. After taking the pill, He Tian gained a lot of strength and felt less pain than before. Sister-in-law, doctor, I may be giving birth soon, He Tian reminded. She felt the changes in her body. Zhao Huan was not an obstetrician and gynecologist, so she looked at her senior sister, Dr. Zhang. Dr. Zhang smiled and said, it shouldn't be so fast. Please wait a moment and let me take a look. When I saw this, I was shocked. It's true that I'm about to give birth, Dr. Zhang said. Come on, follow my slogan, breathe, push hard. Dr. Zhang was very experienced and guided He Tian to exert herself to give birth. Huo Yingji called the Huo family's old house. Over there, Mr. Huo and the old lady heard that He Tian was in labor, so they quickly asked the bodyguard to drive over. Huo Yingji was about to enter the delivery room, but was stopped by Grandma Wang. Your sister-in-law and Dr. Zhang are both inside, so don't go in, Grandma Wang reminded. Tian is in good health, and this is not her first time giving birth, so she will be fine. But Tian hurts, Huo Yingji frowned. No, I'll go in. He Tian was conscious in the room. When she heard Huo Yingji's words, she said loudly, don't come in. She was very embarrassed now, her face was ferocious, and she was all wet. She didn't want Huo Yingji to see her in such a miserable state. Huo Yingji was about to go in when he heard He Tian's angry words and had to stop. Did you hear that? Tian won't let you in, Grandma Wang said, just wait outside with peace of mind. Aunt Guo, Lu Wangxia, boil hot water and start. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 928. 926. Here, Mr. Huo and Ms. Huo heard a loud cry as soon as they entered the door. It's happening, Huo Yingji said excitedly, and this time he rushed in regardless of anything else. Zhao Huan helped clean up the child and wrapped the child in a small blanket. Dr. Zhang cleaned up He Tian. Seeing that the baby was also born, Grandma Wang turned back to the house and took a big red envelope with 10 Unity cards in it. How are Tian and the child? Ms. Huo was a little anxious when she heard the child cry. Sir, the children are fine, sister, don't worry, Grandma Wang said. If you are anxious, let's go in and see the children. Okay, I'll go in and take a look. Ms. Huo smiled and followed Grandma Wang in. The inside has been cleaned and Dr. Zhang is washing his hands. Tien Tien, how are you? Mrs. Huo asked. If you are tired, take a rest and sleep for a while. He Tien Tien smiled and said, Grandma, I'm fine. Can you let me see Rufeng? Here, bring the child over and show it to mommy, Mrs. Huo said with a smile. This kid looks so good. He looks like daddy and mommy. Originally, He Tien Tien thought her grandmother was speaking kindly and didn't pay attention. But when she looked at the child she held in front of her, she was also stunned. This child was white, tender, and very good looking. His skin was not as red as other children's, as if it had grown in the mother's womb. This child will be blessed, He Tien Tien smiled. When I gave birth to his sister and brother, they were in the countryside, and they were twins who were small, wrinkled, and red. They were not like this kid. So beautiful. Haha, they were twins before, but this time he was the only one, and all the good things were absorbed by him alone, Madame Huo said with a smile, so it's not surprising that they look good. Yes, Grandma, He Tien Tien smiled. Sister-in-law, Grandma, Grandma Wang, don't forget to greet me. Thank you, Dr. Zhang. Grandma Wang took out a red envelope and said with a smile, Dr. Zhang, thank you for your hard work. This is a red envelope. It's gentle and smooth. I'm just here to help, but it's not easy to get red envelopes. Dr. Zhang refused and packed his things as he spoke. Zhao Huan took the red envelope, stuffed it into Dr. Zhang's pocket, and said, Senior sister, this is a happy event, just take it. Besides, my second younger brother and sister are very good at business and are rich. When Dr. Zhang saw this, he smiled and said, then I won't be polite. Aunt Guo and Lu Wangzia had already cooked the meal and left Dr. Zhang to eat. Zhao Huan personally took Dr. Zhang back to the hospital. Huo Yingzhe held the child and walked around the house. Okay, don't hold him anymore, He Tien Tien said. If you spoil him now, you go to work, and I have to hold him at home. Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, I just look after the children, and I feel happy. Okay, don't forget that you wrote a letter of guarantee before. Ruimin must be very sensitive and sad to see you caring so much for the child, He Tien Tien said. After school is over later, you will pick up the child in person. Yes, Huo Yingzhe smiled. There are many people at noon, so Ruwa and Ruimin may not think much about it, but at night, they will probably get angry when they see me holding the mistress all the time. That's right, children are all the same, He Tien Tien said. Although Rufeng is still young and needs more care from us, we cannot ignore the older ones. The couple changed things in time to prevent their children from thinking too much. Sure enough, when the children were out of school, Huo Yingzhe went to pick them up in person. Because it was not far from home, Huo Yingzhe led the two children, sang songs together, and went home hand in hand. Dad, I want to play with my brother, Huo Ruimin said, looking up at his father with a lollipop in his hand. Give my brother some candy. Huo Ruwa also said, Dad, I give toys to my brother to play with. Haha, my brother is still young and can't eat or play yet. When he grows up, he can play, Huo Yingzhe said with a smile. Now he has to sleep every day, sleep more and eat more, so that he can grow up quickly. Oh, when will my brother grow up? Huo Ruimin asked. How long will it take for me to grow up? Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, it will take 5 years. 5 years, such a long time. Huo Ruimin was surprised. Hey, it will take a long time to wait. Soon, very soon, Huo Yingzhe said with a smile. Okay, we're home. Your mother went to bed at noon and didn't see you two little babies talking about you all the time. She kept urging your father to pick you up from school. I miss my mother too, Huo Ruimin said. After entering the house, she jumped and ran into the house. He Tien Tien was breastfeeding Huo Ruimin. When she saw her daughter coming, she waved and said, Ruimin is back from school. Tell mom, did you behave well in school today? Ruimin is good, Huo Ruimin smiled. Mom, Can I touch my brother? Of course, he Tian smiled, but you have to wash your hands first and then be gentle. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands. Huo Ruimin and Huo Ruwa went to the bathroom and washed their hands with soap. Huo Yingja helped wipe them clean before bringing them over. He Tian fed the baby and put it on the bed, where Huo Ruimin and Huo Ruwa could just touch it. Huo Ruimin stretched out her index finger and tapped Huo Ruinayan's face gently, and said in surprise, "It's soft and smooth." "I'll touch it too." Huo Ruwa imitated her sister's example and touched her brother's face. "It's fun." "Okay, my brother is still young and can only touch him once a day. When he grows up, can I play with you again?" he Tian asked, looking at his son and daughter lovingly. "Okay," the two children said at the same time. "My brother is still young and cannot love you, but you can like your brother first and love him. When he grows up, he will also like you." He Tian carefully persuaded and guided the children to love each other. "Well, we like our brother very much," Huo Ruimin said, "but why doesn't he open his eyes? Is he asleep?" "Yes, I'm already asleep." He Tian smiled. "Are you hungry and want Dad to prepare some food for you?" I'm hungry," Huo Ruinayan said. "Dad, I want to eat hibiscus cake." "Okay, one piece each, and we'll have dinner later," Huo Yingja said with a smile, holding two warm pastries in his hand. "Don't eat too many pastries." Huo Ruimin finished eating quickly, then looked at her brother and said, "Dad, my brother will definitely like my beautiful sister, and he will definitely give me the hibiscus cake, so I can still have a piece." Huo Yingja and He Tian were stunned by what Huo Ruimin said. How could their stupid daughter come up with such a good idea to eat snacks? "Okay," He Tian smiled bitterly, "bring another piece of snack over and break it into two parts. Each brother and sister will have half." The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 929. 927. After receiving half a piece of pastry, Huo Ruimin and Huo Ruwa beamed. "Mom, from now on, I will share my pastries with my younger brother," Huo Ruwa said with a smile. "It's great to have a younger brother. Now that my younger brother is breastfeeding and can't eat snacks, it belongs to his good sister." "Okay," He Tian smiled. "Ruwa, Ruimin is so good." In the evening, it fell to Huo Yingja to tell stories to Huo Ruwa and Huo Ruimin. Qi Xiaoyan, Qi Jinmin, and Zhang Wenwen also often come to visit He Tian, bringing some magazines, novels, and some delicious food. They come to chat with He Tian. During confinement, He Tian did not feel bored. In order to take care of He Tian, Huo Yingja specially took half a month's leave and took care of everything by hand and took good care of He Tian. Fortunately, Zhou Yuanchao recovered and shared a lot of work, so Huo Yingja could have such a long vacation. The research institute has been built, and various equipment is being installed, which cannot be separated from people. Finally, after the child was 1 month old, Huo Yingja invited relatives and friends to treat him at a restaurant and give his child a 100-day banquet. The full moon is real, and the 100-day banquet is based on the date of registration. Fortunately, Huo Rufeng was born as a fat boy weighing 7 pounds. In addition, this boy is very good at eating. He Tian has a lot of milk and looks like an ordinary child. After 2 or 3 months, it is not much, so it is said that it is 100 days. People who don't know can't see it either. This time, relatives from the Huo family, relatives from the Zhang family, several of Huo Yingja's close colleagues, Qi Xiaoyan, Qi Jinmin, and others were invited. Although it was not a big event, it was Huo Jekan's first wedding, so many people came uninvited. Some people didn't even sit down, they just put down their gifts, paid the gift money, and then went back. When she came back in the evening, He Tian looked at the thick wedding book in front of her. A lot of gifts were recorded on it, and she put on a bag, which was full of money. There was also a big bag beside it, which contained longevity locks, silver bracelets, etc. of Brother Yingja, I didn't expect so many people to come today. The banquet we hosted today was too few and not in place. He Tian smiled bitterly. If he had known that so many people would come, he would have booked a few more banquets. We have no experience beforehand. Besides, many people come uninvited, and we can't kick them out. Huo Yingja said, there is just no place for people to eat, which is a bit bad. If we had known earlier, we would have it was done in a big hotel. Yes, He Tian said distressedly, I have to take a closer look to see who has come with gifts and money. When someone has something to do, I will also give gifts. Gifts reciprocate, and they gave to our family first. We want them. Return it. You can make the decision, Huo Yingja said, walking over and looking through the gifts. If he found no problems, he asked He Tian to put them away. He Tian didn't recognize some of them, so He Tian copied them in a notebook and waited for the weekend to go to the Huo family's old house to ask about their relationship with the Huo family and how to get along with them in the future. There are many ways to deal with these relationships, and He Tian has a lot to learn. On the weekend, the family came to the Huo family's old house. He Tian asked Mrs. Huo and Song Chunli about the situation of each family and their relationship with the Huo family to decide how she would get along with those people in the future. That said, just one morning. Thank you, Grandma and eldest aunt. When we came to Yanjing, we didn't know many things, especially the interpersonal relationships between aristocratic families. Now, after asking Grandma and eldest aunt for advice, we finally know nothing. He Tian sighed with emotion. He said, this is also a technical job. Tian, if you don't understand which family has something going on in the future, you can ask me and your grandmother, so that you won't get it wrong, Song Chunli said with a smile. After all, there are so many families, and you don't know them. Here we are. When the time comes, I'll take you and Huan there, and we'll get to know each other after walking around a few times. Mrs. Huo listened and nodded repeatedly. That's right, you are still young, learn slowly, don't be anxious. Yes, I've written it down. He Tian smiled. When her mother-in-law came back this time, she thanked Song Chunli profusely and said a lot of compliments. Now Song Chunli felt a little more sincere towards He Tian. Not only because He Tian made money for her, but also because of He Tian, Zhang Lifang respected her, not superficially, but from the bottom of her heart. Huo Yingja was about to start work. Mr. Huo called Huo Yingja, Huo Yingjun, and Huo Jekian to the study room to give Huo Yingja some instructions. In fact, Huo Yingja knew all this. But the elders were concerned, and Huo Yingja couldn't refuse. Yingja, you are now the father of 3 children, and you are 31 years old. You have achieved success in your career, which is not bad for your age, Mr. Huo said. I hope you be more cautious when working hard in the future. After all, your father and I are getting older day by day, and we will still have to rely on you and Yingjun to support the family business in the future. Yes, Grandpa, I know, Huo Yingja nodded. The big boss also came to see him personally, so he would work hard both in public and private matters. Huo Zhe smiled dryly and said, Yingja, you will soon be the youngest chief engineer Huo in China. In the future, you will independently lead a materials research institute. You are not just responsible for research before, but you also need necessary management to firmly control the research institute in your own hands. Yes, uncle, I know, Huo Yingja said. He was fully prepared and there would be no mistakes. After his father and grandfather finished talking, Huo Yingjun said with envy, Yingja, you are really amazing. Now you can take charge of your own business. With such a high position, we have a firm foothold. Brother, you are also very powerful, Huo Yingja said, the best diplomat in the future. Don't be ridiculous, I'm not good enough yet, Huo Yingjun said modestly, I still have to practice a lot before I can stand on my own. The leader has said that I will become the ambassador of the Philippines next year. I hope I will work hard. Congratulations, brother, Huo Yingji said. You are so young and your future is limitless. Brother, I probably won't be able to leave the country in this life. I won't be able to help you abroad, but at home, I will work hard to be yours, rely on. Everyone also understood what Huo Yingji meant. As for the things Huo Yingji had researched, for the sake of confidentiality and Huo Yingji's safety, Huo Yingji would not be allowed to go abroad. Not only was Huo Yingji unable to go abroad, but He Tian wanted to go abroad to visit her relatives. It took 2 months for her passport application to be sent, but nothing happened. They said it was under review, which was a disguised rejection. Haha, your job is of a special nature, Huo Yingjun smiled, but from the side, it can be seen that you are very powerful and very important. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 930. 928. Everyone laughed after hearing what Huo Yingjun said. Yingji, don't be sad. Sometimes this is also an honor, old master Huo said. You, just be content. Okay, I'm content, Huo Yingji smiled. If he continued to be dissatisfied, he would be squeezed by his grandfather and elder brother. Some things are honors for others, but not necessarily for him. However, the taste of holding power is really good, and it is not exchanged for how much money you make. Mrs. Huo hugged Huo Rufeng, and she was so happy that she was a fat boy. Tian, you have worked hard. You have to take care of the children and take care of the family. Your mother-in-law is not here. You two young couples should discuss the family affairs. If you can't make a decision, you can come and tell us. Don't make it difficult. Mrs. Huo smiled, and she became happier and happier. Grandma, I'll remember it. He Tian smiled and accepted everyone's kindness. Going home in the evening, Xiaowu drove, Huo Yingji sat in the co-pilot, and He Tian sat in the back with 3 children. Along the way, the family went home to the singing of their son and daughter. When they got home, Huo Yingji packed up the 2 children and asked them to go to bed. Today, they had too much fun playing with Huo Ruxiang and his brother, and sang songs all the way. When they washed up, they felt a little drowsy, climbed into bed, and began to sleep soundly, not listening to stories. Seeing her husband coming over, He Tian put the gift book aside and said, Brother Yingji, although our Rufeng has completed all the procedures, it is an extra birth after all, and should be fined, so I want to donate some money to the welfare home, which can be regarded as paying social maintenance fees. Haha, okay, if the fine for extra births is 3 times the total income of my husband and wife, that's a lot of money, Huo Yingji said. Our family is not short of money, and we will donate money and things to the welfare home every year in the future. Okay, I'll observe it another day, He Tian said. We will send clothes and food to the children in the welfare home. As for donating money, I don't know how much money can be spent on the children. Well, said Huo Yingji said, winter is here, send new cotton clothes and food. He Tian took out a notebook from her bag and wrote down what she just said so that she wouldn't forget it. By the way, what do you think we should donate in the name of? He Tian asked. I want to learn from Lei Feng and do good deeds without leaving a name. It's very simple. Fuxi Automobile has been doing publicity all the time, and it can also do charity. Huo Yingji suggested, let's give the money to Tang Qian. That guy is a man of action and will definitely get it done properly. We do good things without being in the limelight, and we have the best of both worlds. Tang Qian will probably be very happy. He Tian nodded and put the notebook back into her bag. Huo Yingji hugged He Tian from behind and whispered, in such a beautiful time, let's not talk about other people. It's been almost 2 months since she gave birth, and her body has recovered. Okay, He Tian turned around and lay on Huo Yingji, then let's talk about you, okay? Huo Yingzhe frowned and said, at this moment, it doesn't matter what I say. I prefer. Maybe because she had never used contraception and had not gotten pregnant before, He Tian had no such consciousness in her mind. Just be careful next time, Huo Yingzhe whispered, I'll go buy it tomorrow. How about I get an IUD, He Tian asked, but I wonder if it will be uncomfortable if I put it in my body. Don't go, Huo Yingzhe said, it's not good for my body if I put it in my body, it's easy to get inflammation. But the people from the street office came to inform me that I have to get an IUD in a month. He Tian smiled bitterly, I'm just worried about this. It's okay, I'll ask my sister-in-law to get a certificate and say you've had an IUD. Huo Yingzhe smiled, don't worry about this, there's always a way. Okay, He Tian nodded, no worries. He Tian fell into Huo Yingzhe's arms. Afterwards, Huo Yingzhe went to the family planning office to get family planning supplies. So Huo Yingzhe worked out a recipe, and He Tian took one pill before each sex, so that the man's sperm and the woman's egg would repel each other and never meet, and there would be no pregnancy. In order to get the medicinal herbs, Huo Yingzhe also asked the little turtle to go to the back mountain of Kijia village and let it collect a lot of medicinal herbs. Finally, this thorny problem was solved and a happy and harmonious life was restored. He Tian called Qi Zhenmin and asked Qi Zhenmin to come over. Unexpectedly, it was Tang Qian who sent Qi Zhenmin over. He Tian was upset again. Zhenmin, don't stay in the hotel. I have so many houses at home, and there is a place for you to live, He Tian said, not wanting Qi Zhenmin to live outside and give Tang Qian a chance to contact him. When Tang Qian heard this, his heart skipped a beat. His wolf ambition was exposed in front of He Tian. It's okay, I will go back to Nanxi the day after tomorrow, there is no need to move around, Qi Zhenmin said, and I have assistants and bodyguards around me, it's not convenient to live in your house. He Tian looked at Tang Qian, just don't want you to be too convenient to contact this man. I wanted to discuss this with Zhenmin, but since you're here too, Tang Qian, I'll talk to you too, He Tian said. I'm planning to donate $100,000 to charity, but I don't want to be too high profile, so I want to do it through Fuxi Automobile. This way, I can increase the popularity of Fuxi Automobile and take the opportunity to do good things. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 931. 929. Tang Qian's eyes lit up after hearing this. With this 100,000 yuan, he could do some good things. This is a national charity, and your 100,000 yuan is not much, Tang Qian said, but if it is in the Yanjing area, I guarantee that I can do a good job. Forget about the national charity. Our Fuxi Automobile has just started and the profit is not very high. This year, we will do Yanjing, He Tian said, if I have more income tomorrow, I will take out more money for charity. That's right, if you are successful, you should help the world, Tang Qian smiled, okay, I will also take out 20,000 and put it together for charity. Haha, you all contributed money. Since I heard it, it would be bad if I didn't participate. Let's donate 20,000 yuan, Qi Zhenmin said, let's donate in the name of Yanjing Fuxi Automobile Dealership. It's done by the dealers themselves, not the head office. This way I can also explain to other dealerships. You don't have to pay, Tang Qian said, 120,000 yuan is not a small amount. Charity is never too much, Qi Zhenmin smiled, when Fuxi Automobile stabilizes, I will gradually do charity in the name of the head office. We can also make money from the rich and help those disadvantaged groups. Tang Qian listened and looked at Qi Zhenmin's smiling face, a little absent-minded. Ahem, He Tian coughed twice, reminding Tang Qian to take it easy. If he was so rampant in front of her, wouldn't he be even more rampant outside? Haha, Tang Qian smiled embarrassedly and turned his head. Tang Qian, that's it? I'll give you the money tomorrow. Winter is coming soon. Don't give money directly to the children in the welfare home. I don't know how much of the 120,000 yuan can be used for the children, he Tian said, so that this person would not give money directly to save trouble. Tang Qian smiled and said, I know, I promise to satisfy you. Okay, no more, you guys chat, I have something to go back first. If it was someone else, he Tian would have asked Tang Qian to stay for dinner, but now he Tian had something to say to Qi Zhenmin and didn't want to keep him. Okay, goodbye. Qi Zhenmin smiled gently and waved to Tang Qian. Do you need me to pick you up later? Tang Qian walked out, as if he remembered something important, and turned around and asked. He Tian glared and said, I'll take her back. Haha, okay. Tang Qian smiled embarrassedly, then I'm leaving. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Qi Zhenmin smiled and watched Tang Qian leave. Tang Qian looked at Qi Zhenmin with affection, and Qi Zhenmin looked at Tang Qian with appreciation. It's over. It's all over. She was pregnant and had a baby, so she had no time or opportunity to pay attention to Qi Zhenmin, so Tang Qian took advantage of the situation. Feeling He Tianatian's frustration, Qi Zhenmin smiled, took He Tianatian's arm and said, Sister Tian, I know you are doing this for my own good. Since you know, why don't you stay away? He Tian complained, amorous men are like intestinal poison. You can't drink a sip yourself just to see if it's poisonous. Sister Tian, things may not be as serious as you think. Qi Zhenmin whispered, I found him to be a more humorous and smart man. It's over. This is the rhythm of falling. That's why he can deceive women. He Tian said, those women value not only his money, but also his face and his intelligence. Do you know how many women he had before? He told me, Qi Zhenmin said, not daring to look at He Tianatian's eyes. Then why are you still with him? He Tian asked back, aren't you afraid that he will hurt you in the future? Will he deliberately pretend to be a prodigal son to pursue you? After his divorce, he didn't continue to mess around. Qi Zhenmin said, he started to change before he met me. Sister Tian, I know you care about me. Now that I haven't fallen in love with Tang Qian, I just think he is an interesting man. If he can bring me happiness or the sweetness of love, I can get along with him. If we don't get along well, or there is no feeling between us, I will give up and be friends again. Hearing Qi Zhenmin's explanation, He Tian knew that it was useless to say anything. After all, Qi Zhenmin is now an adult, with his own way of thinking and code of conduct, plus some foreign love concepts. He Tian doesn't agree, but she can understand. Okay, I respect your decision, He Tian said, but you have to promise me that even if love is gone and the man is gone, you still have your family and me as your sister. My shoulder will always be yours. If you can't get over a man, I will never forgive you. Hearing what He Tian said, Qi Zhenmin smiled, hugged He Tian tightly, and said, thank you, sister. Life is short, I will cherish the good times. Men and love are just a part of my life, not all. Family, friends, food, beautiful scenery, gorgeous clothes, and jewelry are also my favorites. The two sisters were talking and laughing when Huo Yingzhe came back from get off work. Seeing them laughing so happily, Huo Yingzhe asked, what's the happy thing? Nothing, I'm studying how to reduce the harm caused by love and marriage, He Tian said with a smile. She just said some messy examples, which made Qi Zhenmin laugh. Huo Yingzhe looked at Qi Zhenmin's face, smiled, and said, is it aimed at Tang Qian? Qi Zhenmin's face turned slightly red after hearing this, but she was always cheerful and generous, and asked, brother-in-law, how do you know? Haha, you can tell with your eyes. Huo Yingzhe smiled, actually, the way to deal with a criminal record like Tang Qian is very simple. What can we do? He Tian was more interested than Qi Jinmin. Tell me, tell me. Learn from me. My wife and I live life wholeheartedly. I am willing to put all my property in my wife's name, Huo Yingji said with a smile. Judging from Tang Qian's face, the peach blossom evil spirit is gone. It should be the Tang family who found it. The master resolved it for Tang Qian. But Huo Yingji didn't want Tang Qian to win over the beauty so easily, because he had offended He Tian before. After hearing this, He Tian's eyes lit up and she said, "What a great idea. Then Tang Qian values his career. If he loves you enough, he will do this. Also, if you have children in the future and cannot survive, the children must not to the negligent party." Hearing what they said, Qi Jinmin didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, "Oh my god, Tang Qian, and I haven't even started yet. Do I have to think about this?" It seems that neither Sister Tian nor her brother-in-law are optimistic about this upcoming relationship. In this case, she has to be more cautious. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 932. 930. He Tian looked at Qi Jinmin angrily. It is not necessary for others, but it is necessary for people with criminal records, especially playboys like Tang Qian. He Tian said, "There is an old saying, a dog cannot change what he eats, although this is very crude, but the words are rough and the reasoning is not rough." Qi Jinmin smiled and said, "Sister Tian, I will pay attention, don't worry about me. I don't want this either, but grandma is in Kijia village and Uncle Qi is abroad. As a sister, of course I have to watch over you." He Tian said, "Even if you resent me and annoy me in your heart, I don't want you to any harm." Qi Jinmin hugged He Tian again and said, "Sister Tian, you are so kind. Okay, let's go eat." Seeing that the food was ready, He Tian called Qi Jinmin to eat. The child was sleeping in the house, and He Tian had time to eat, which was very rare. Huo Yingji listened to He Tian and Qi Jinmin talking, feeling happy. Tang Qian deserves it. The road to courtship in the future will be very confusing. After dinner, He Tian originally wanted to give Qi Jinmin a gift, but Qi Jinmin refused because she heard the cry of the child in the room. "Sister Tian, just ask your bodyguard to see me off." Qi Jinmin said, "I don't need you to see me off in person. The child is crying. You should hurry into the house." He Tian heard the crying in the room and nodded, "Okay, Yuan, you give my sister a gift." "Yes." Wei Yuan agreed and drove Qi Jinmin away. Wei Yuan sent people to the hotel and left. Qi Jinmin didn't want to go back to the room so early and wanted to go to the cafe for a drink. However, he saw a familiar figure in the hall. Qi Jinmin walked over, stepping on the marble floor with his leather shoes, leaving a string of pleasant sounds. Tang Qian was reading the newspaper. When he saw the leather shoes in front of him, he put down the newspaper and raised his head. "Are you waiting for someone?" Qi Jinmin asked with a smile. His slightly curled hair was a little messy, but he looked more playful. Tang Qian stood up, a little embarrassed, and said with a smile, "Yes, I was waiting for you. I suddenly wanted to drink coffee. I remembered that the coffee here is good, so I just wanted to drink coffee with you." "Okay," Qi Jinmin smiled, "I want to go too." Tang Qian's eyes lit up and he smiled, "Please." Qi Jinmin walked in front, and Tang Qian followed behind. Qi Jinmin is already very tall, and wearing high heels makes her look even taller. In late autumn, Qi Jinmin wore a khaki windbreaker with a belt tied up, showing off her slender waist and slender neck. She was of mixed race and had three-dimensional and deep facial features. Under the soft light, Qi Jinmin found a seat on the side and sat down. "What do you like to drink?" Qi Jinmin asked, wanting to order it for Tang Qian. "Just Blue Mountain coffee," Tang Qian said. To be honest, He was not interested in things like coffee, but Chi Jinmin liked it, so he also tried some. Okay, Chi Jinmin smiled, Blue Mountain coffee, cappuccino. As soon as Yingsheng left, Tang Qian's stomach growled. Chi Jinmin was stunned, but he suppressed his laughter, pointed to the northeast corner, and said, "The bathroom is over there." Tang Qian became even more embarrassed and hurriedly explained, "I'm not upset, I just haven't had dinner yet." "Ah," Chi Jinmin said with a smile, "you haven't had dinner yet?" Yeah, Tang Qian nodded. Rather than being thought to be upset, it might be better for him to admit that he was hungry. "Then we should go to the restaurant, not the cafe," Chi Jinmin smiled. "Okay, let's go to the restaurant." "Let's wait until you finish your coffee," Tang Qian said with a smile. "I'll be fine if I wait a little longer." Chi Jinmin looked at Tang Qian, shook his head and said, "Coffee is for fun, but not eating is not good for your health." "It's okay, the restaurant is next door, I can have the coffee delivered there, I drink the coffee, and you eat." "Is this possible?" Tang Qian asked, feeling happy because Chi Jinmin was always so considerate. "Of course," Chi Jinmin smiled, then stood up and told the waiter just now to send the coffee to the next door. "Anyway, it's all from the same hotel, so it's okay to send it to the next door, as long as the student agrees." Chi Jinmin paid the bill and tipped the waiter. When they arrived next door, Chi Jinmin gave the menu to Tang Qian and said, "Take a look and order what you want to eat. I'll treat you to dinner." "That's so embarrassing," Tang Qian said with a smile. He was really hungry, so he ordered something to eat first. Anyway, he brought money and could afford it. "Fortunately, this is a Chinese restaurant." "Haha, we are friends." "Treating you to dinner is nothing," Chi Jinmin said, "hurry up and order." "Won't you eat some with me?" Tang Qian asked. If Chi Jinmin also eats, he will order more. If he doesn't eat it, he will order less to avoid wasting it. Chi Jinmin smiled and said, "No need, I ate at Sister Tianatian's house and I'm not hungry now." "Okay, I'll order less." Tang Qian ordered 1 meat, 1 vegetable, 1 soup, and rice. Chi Jinmin looked at a plate of sweet and sour pork ribs, a plate of spicy and sour potato shreds, and a seaweed and egg drop soup on the table, 3 very common meals. This is a saving man. I discovered another advantage of Tang Qian. Although it may not look simple, it tastes much better than outside and is worthy of the price on the menu. After eating rice and pork ribs, my stomach is no longer fussy. Tang Qian came out after the founding of the People's Republic of China. Although life was difficult, he still had enough to eat and drink. He was well educated since he was a child and had good table manners. While drinking coffee, Chi Jinmin observed Tang Qian, imagining her colleagues during this period. Tang Qian gave her too many surprises. Maybe, she already likes him. Tang Qian finished eating and drank the soup. As for the cup of dark coffee, Tang Qian automatically ignored it. He was still not used to that thing. "Do you like food?" Tang Qian asked. He grew up in Yanjing and knew the delicious food in the streets and alleys of Yanjing very well. Now he wants to understand and like Chi Jinmin, so Tang Qian wants to take Chi Jinmin to his secret base and eat something he thinks is delicious. "I like it." Chi Jinmin smiled. "Do you have a good introduction?" "Yes, we have many private restaurants here," Tang Qian said. "Are you free tomorrow night? I can take you to eat." "Tomorrow night?" Chi Jinmin asked. "I think about it, I should be free. I will be leaving the day after tomorrow, so just take it as a practice for me." Tang Qian smiled and said, "Okay, then I'll go get a reservation early tomorrow morning." "Okay." Chi Jinmin nodded. After drinking the coffee and eating the food, it was time to say goodbye. "Then let's meet tomorrow." Tang Qian smiled. "Okay, I'll see you off." Chi Jinmin smiled. "No, you can go back to your room. I'm a grown man and I'll be fine." Tang Qian refused and told Chi Jinmin not to go out.